Are you in the red zone to retirement? Today we talk about what you can do to get past the defense and get to that end goal of retirement right now on Retiring Today. This is Retiring Today. I'm here with AnnaMarie Morrow and Loren Merkle. AnnaMarie is the Director of Medicare at Merkle Retirement Planning, and Loren is a certified financial planner, a certified financial fiduciary, and a retirement income certified professional. But today, we're football fans because you know what? According to Gallup, 37% of people in the United States say football is the sport they watch the most. We know it's huge in the U.S.
I'm actually surprised it's not more.
I was going to say, that seems low to me.
Well, 37% of adults say it's their favorite sport. You can talk to Gallup.
No, I believe you.
You can talk to Gallup at a later time.
Anyways.
Today, we are football fans because we're going to make a parallel between the red zone and football and the red zone to retirement. And I know both of you are football fans, and your football roots go far.
I am, but let's just be clear. I'm wearing a Buccaneers jersey. I am not a Buccaneers fan. My husband, lifelong Buccaneers fan, so this is on loan, but I do need to get myself a Broncos jersey, preferably Von Miller. I don't know if they make those anymore, but that just needs to be said.
That says something about you, AnnaMarie. That takes a lot to wear another team's jersey that you're not even a fan of.
I know. So let's talk about something else, shall we?
She's leaning into the
go into this show with her saying, let's talk a lot about football. Immediately, she changes it.
Deflecting.
Yes.
Deflecting.
Yeah, well, we're leaning into the football concept. You're a football fan, and you try to catch a couple Chicago Bears games here and there.
Yeah, I grew up with the Bears, the good old Bears, the 80s, mid-80 Bears. You know, you have Peyton.
Sure.
Not Tillman. Peyton. Dent, Singletary, the good ones. So It's been a while since we've had some good Bears viewing, but we'll get back there.
And I've got 3 football players in my household. 2 of my sons play, and my daughter even played flag football this year, and my husband coaches all of them. So football, of course, a big part of a lot of people's life, probably a big part of your life as well. So we're going to make the parallels. You might enjoy it, but I know one thing. If you're watching and you're near retirement, you're going to feel some of the defenses we're going to talk about today. Because what we're going to do is we want to talk about when you're getting close to retirement, what could maybe get in your way? What defenses could be there to stop you? And these 2 people sitting right next to me, they're going to draw plays that are going to get you to retirement. So let's talk about some of the things that people are feeling in the red zone, and let's talk about what the red zone is, Loren, to retirement.
Yeah, much like the red zone on the football field. On the football field, it's the last 20 yards, the 20 yards prior to getting into the end zone. In retirement, it could be a little bit different for everybody, but categorically, if we just say 10 years prior to retiring, that's when that red zone begins. Where it becomes a little bit challenging is when is exactly 10 years for you. You know, we work with families that think they might retire next year, and they might not actually retire for another 5 years. So directionally, within 10 years of retiring would be that red zone to retirement. And this is where things can get really complicated, in part because you've never been to the red zone before, right? You've been 40 years old, 20 years old, 35 years old, and you've had different goals in that phase. Your goal in the red zone to retirement is to prepare for that, make the final preparations to get to retirement and then through retirement.
Yeah, AnnaMarie, so the field is shrinking, right, when you get in the red zone, so they have less room to run the play, but when you think about the red zone to retirement, you have more decisions that you have to make as you head in.
That's right, that's when the pressure's on. You know, that's why, I mean, there's a red zone channel specifically for just the red zone, because that's when it's exciting, that's when hot plays need to happen, defenses need to be on, because pressure is on. And when we meet with families within that red zone of retirement, they feel that pressure. There are decisions that need to be made, strategies that would need to be implemented, and navigating through that is what really makes it exciting.
And that's why we say you get one chance to get it right when you're looking at retirement planning, because these decisions that you have to make are decisions that you've never had to make before. So the pressure's up, the time frame is condensed, and it makes each one of these decisions that much more important.
Are you saying it's 4th down and you're going to draw up a play?
I'm saying it feels like that to a lot of people. Are you saying you want me to drop
I want you to show me. Show me how to get to retirement,
all right,
Coach.
Coach Merkle, to the board. Here we go. We're going to drop a play. So there's many defenses, as we talked about, that you will encounter as you get to the red zone to retirement and get even closer. So here's where you have been. Maybe you're 40 years old, 45, 50 years old. You still have some time before you get to that red zone. But time passes, and now you are actually in the red zone. And this is where you're feeling that pressure increase, because you have obstacles, hurdles that you have to overcome that maybe you faced before, but you have to face them in a different way now, and the meaning behind these defenses is much greater. So let's take inflation as an example. And you feel it. Every time you go to the grocery store, you fill up your cart, you take it to the register, and it rings up much higher than what it did even 6 months ago. Now, you've combated inflation, you combated that defense all throughout the pre-retirement phase, but you're still going to have to combat that defense even in retirement. We know that your lifestyle costs X amount today. Let's call it $6,000 a month. 20 years from now, that $6,000 a month might be closer to $10,000 a month for the same exact lifestyle. So in your retirement playbook, you need to have a play that's going to get you around that defense and allow you to score. So this is the end zone, which is your retirement. Another hurdle that you're going to have to overcome, or defense you're going to have to overcome, is taxation. And this is a big one, and you felt this all throughout your accumulation phase. But this defense doesn't go away in retirement, but again, it does show up differently. As an example, if you have $1 million in your pre-tax 401k plan, over the course of your 20-year retirement, you might have a retirement tax bill that exceeds $500,000. That's just the tax bill. So you know you are in need of a play that's going to get you around that retirement tax bill and still into the retirement end zone. And then just one more defense that you have to overcome, let's say it's healthcare. Study after study, each year there's an updated study that says you might have to pay, the most recent study I believe was about $320,000 on healthcare alone over the course of your retirement. So if you're looking at your portfolio and you have $1 million in your portfolio, you're thinking 320 I have to set aside for healthcare alone, and that's not even assuming long-term care costs. That is also a reason you need a healthcare play within your retirement playbook to make sure that you can still score and have the retirement that you want to. Which is why it's because of all of those defenses, we have to have an integrated plan to make sure that you call the right play at the right time that allows you to execute your retirement vision.
That's right. As coaches, we have that bird's eye view to guide you to have your retirement plan, this comprehensive plan, guide the decisions that need to be made rather than making siloed decisions on the field as individual players.
Yeah, and I heard you say healthcare plan. I was like, oh, if only your team had a Medicare director. They could help you draw up a healthcare plan. So AnnaMarie is going to draw us up a healthcare plan. But maybe you're thinking about different defenses than the ones that Loren talked about. Inflation, taxes may be on your mind, but you've probably got other barriers or other defenses that you're thinking about. So you could start a conversation about the things that may be keeping you from retirement or getting to the end zone by scheduling a 15-minute retirement checkup call. You can go to merkleretire.com right now. There's a calendar there. Choose a time and a date that works for you and start talking about your retirement journey. We'll continue our red zone to retirement discussion next.
Biking, boating, relaxation? What's your retirement vision? Learn how to take the money you've worked so hard to save and turn it into the retirement of your dreams during our Journey to Retirement workshop. Like getting ready for a trip, getting to and through retirement takes a roadmap. This workshop is the first step to planning your 20 or 30-year vacation. Go to retirewithmerkle.com to register for our Journey to Retirement workshop this week.
Anytime I have even the smallest question about my accounts or what effect the latest tax law might have on my situation, the Merkle Retirement Planning team is always there and quick to help. I'm so glad they treat you like family. I'm so happy to have such an excellent team working for my future and ensuring I do the best to achieve my financial goals.
Merkle Retirement Planning. Your retirement starts here.
This is Retiring Today. I'm here with Loren Merkle and AnnaMarie, who just yelled, go Broncos right before we started rolling. As she wears
the Tampa Bay jersey.
Do you know, I've got like several Broncos. They're not mine, they're my husband's, but I could have brought you one.
Oh, it's all right. Diversity.
That's
We're
true. I do like, I
diversified.
think we look like football fans, because today we are football fans, because we're the kind of football fans that want to cheer people on to the retirement end zone, to the touchdown, which is retirement. So we're talking about this red zone for football. We know it's 20 yards out, and we're talking about 10 years or so from retirement. Thinking about that, is that an age for people? Do people get an age in their mind when they're going to retire, or how do they figure out their red zone?
It's a little bit different for everybody, and we work with those within that red zone and already retired, but the age difference between our youngest and our oldest is significant, and that's because that red zone is a little bit different for everybody. You might have a plan to retire at 55, you might have a plan to retire at 65, your siblings might have a plan to retire at 62. I mean, it's a little bit different for everybody. But how you go about figuring that out is also multifaceted. One is you have to be emotionally ready. You have to have a plan to say, I'm not going to work Monday morning. What else am I going to do? Where else am I going to find purpose? What is going to fulfill me in a way, or fulfill you in a way that you've always been fulfilled before? But then you also have to be financially ready and be able to make these decisions you will have to make with confidence. And you have to have that written retirement playbook, so that will enable you to execute the plays that you need to execute to make these decisions.
And AnnaMarie, I think sometimes people get more of a number in mind than a sense, like Loren's talking about, of your emotions and your financial situation, and they say, I can't retire till 65 because of Medicare. And yeah, that's probably true for some people, but you're here to talk about some of the options you can run if you want to retire at a different time.
That's right. The big thought out there is, well, I have to work until 65 because that's where I'm Medicare eligible. Otherwise, it can be quite costly, but retiring before the age of 65 for healthcare. That's probably behind the question behind, do I have enough money to retire? Is what does my healthcare look like? So I get to draw up a play now.
All right. Go for it.
Okay. So we are on the football field of your healthcare journey, right? So you are on this football field, you're living the good life through employer group coverage. Now you're either making that sweet long pass, staying on your own employer group coverage, or if you have to make plays down the field, switching to a spouse's coverage or changing jobs, you know that you have this employer group coverage. But now you're feeling, well, I don't want to work until age 65. So what does it look like when I'm getting into that red zone of retirement before the age of 65? So we're within this end zone now. All right, maybe we're wanting to retire at age 62. What are our options available to us out there? We have the ACA, otherwise known as the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, or the Marketplace, and these are qualified plans available to you. Now, these plans are based off of income and zip code, and because they're based off of income, there are strategies, plays that we can implement to see if there are cost savings available to you, or strategies that we can use to help mitigate those costs. Your other option is COBRA, which is basically an extension of your employer coverage for up to 18 months. Now there's a big cost difference. We've heard there's a lot of taboo with COBRA being so expensive because you're taking over the costs that your employer was paying on your behalf. So where do your cost savings lie? The ACA or COBRA? Now with the ACA, you've got legislation. We could be coming up against defenses like changes in legislation, or legislation that's expiring, possibly removing subsidies. So these are plays that we navigate around to get you into that end zone. Now, as we come up against these defenses and we're using strategies, we're figuring out whether it's COBRA or ACA, or if you start on COBRA, when is a good time to move to the ACA, or staying on it the 18 months. But then, as we're navigating these 20 yards, we're getting close to Medicare. We're on that 1 yard line, and how exciting are those plays in the red zone when there's 1 yard left? The heat is on. So we're going to elect your Medicare. And then Von Miller's twin sister named Irma comes around the corner with this huge cost that you weren't expecting. So Irma, income-related monthly adjustment amount. That's a huge defense that can be thrown in your way. And what this is a 2-year look back the government does from the time you elect Medicare at what your modified adjusted gross income was 2 years previously. And dependent on what you made, your modified adjusted gross income, if it falls between a certain income range, goes above a certain income, you could be paying a lot more than what you anticipated for just your Part B. So then you get hit a little bit by Irma, and you're like, oh, well, can I afford to retire? Can I make this play into Medicare? Should I? And that's when we have these strategies, filing an appeal. What planning has been done so we can bypass IRMA, be prepared, set up that interference so that we can make it into the end zone of Medicare. Touchdown.
Okay, I want to suit up. I'm ready. I want the Medicare. Give me the Medicare. That was a great explanation of that. And I keep hearing you say the word income, and I wonder, you guys sit down with people and talk about this, but I wonder if people out there are going, but I make what I make, guys. I get the payroll, I get the check from my boss, and I make what I make, and then I pay what I pay. I mean, I think maybe sometimes people feel like they can't control that income. So I think I've heard you guys say this is where you work together on some of that.
Yeah, and that's true, especially when you're working. I mean, when you're working, you don't want to decrease your income. You don't want to decrease your salary because you're working hard, you're good at what you do. You want to make as much as you can. So your income is what it is. But when you're retired, you still have to pay for your lifestyle. You probably don't want your lifestyle to go backwards. But if you have a playbook that diversifies where your income's coming from a tax standpoint, now you can control your taxable income, which has the impact on Von Miller or IRMA. So, and this is just one of the distinctions between the working world and the retirement world. The working world, yes, make as much as you can. It's all going to be taxable. You can't control that too much. In the retirement world, you can have a lot of income coming in, but you can control, if you put the playbook together the right way and execute it, the taxable amount of that income, which could impact other aspects or defenses that could come your way.
So that can really help lower the cost that you pay. So maybe you wouldn't even be subject to that IRMA surcharge for Medicare.
Yeah, absolutely. And with regard to that appeal, that's based on life-changing events. So retirement, huge life-changing event, loss of income, loss of a spouse. These are life-changing events that also give us that option to put into effect when the time is needed.
There's another way to kind of see this all play out. We're going to use playbook, but it's our online Journey to Retirement workshop. So we take a couple and we walk them through all of these decisions, and you guys show people how you set up plays to get them to retirement. Yeah,
and it's kind of cool from a standpoint that we walk you through the eyes of a hypothetical retired couple. We're actually pre-retirement. It's John and Sue. They're age 62. They want to retire in 3 short years at age 65. And we show you all the defenses that they have to get around and build their plays for. And through the eyes of John and Sue, you can see what kind of plays you might want to implement in your playbook to get around the defenses that are specific to you.
And what I like about John and Sue's situation and the workbook in general is it asks you questions and gives you information to where you can be interactive and start thinking about how these options pertain to you, what your likes, what you expect out of healthcare, for example, what you expect out of your own lifestyle, and how they pertain to you, not just John and Sue. I love how interactive that is.
Yeah, and we didn't even get to, AnnaMarie, the decisions about supplements. I mean, that's a whole nother thing that comes up, lots of questions there, plays that you can help people drop when it comes to supplements. So you may want to meet John and Sue. I promise you, you will learn a lot from their situation. Our online Journey to Retirement workshop is the chance for you to see John and Sue in person, see our retirement planners, and see what they do for John and Sue as they help them get to retirement. There's some information on your screen right now. There's a website, and then there's also a QR code. So you can grab your phone right now, grab your camera, hover it over there, you go right to a website. When you get to the website, choose a time and date that works for you. You sign up for the online Journey to Retirement workshop. We send you a kit. You get the kit. There's a workbook. There's all kinds of fun stuff that comes along with that, and you're starting that journey to retirement. But we're not done here yet, you guys. A little more football talk. You up for it?
So yes, more plays.
Okay, a little more red zone to retirement next.
The Merkle Retirement Planning Team provides personable and professional expertise unrivaled in this area. They include us in every step of the planning process. The peace of mind provided to us by the Merkle team allows us to fully enjoy this special time of our lives. Instead of feeling snakebit, we feel confident that with the Merkle Retirement Planning Team at our sides, we can navigate any challenge that comes our way.
Merkle Retirement Planning. Your retirement starts here.
Biking, boating, relaxation? What's your retirement vision? Learn how to take the money you've worked so hard to save and turn it into the retirement of your dreams during our Journey to Retirement workshop. Like getting ready for a trip, getting to and through retirement takes a roadmap. This workshop is the first step to planning your 20 or 30-year vacation. Go to retirewithmerkle.com to register for our Journey to Retirement workshop this week.
This is Retiring Today. I'm here with AnnaMarie Morrow and Loren Merkle. They're talking about, of course, football, leading back into this. He's talking all about the Chicago Bears, but we're going to talk about retirement. But there are some parallels with football, because I was thinking about this. Okay, so you wouldn't just put 11 people out on the field and say run a play, right, Loren? So you draw a play.
Might be fun to watch.
Right.
For a little bit.
I think the chances of success are less than if you have them out on the field working together, right? Because the line pushes people one way, and then the running back knows where to cut, or again, I don't know all the details here. But really having a retirement plan, I think, increases your chances of success, as opposed to just, hey, let's wing it and see if we make it.
That's why these teams spend countless hours designing their playbook and then rehearsing that playbook before they ever get on the field to execute those plays, because it is so important. And if we put 11 people on the field and they were all doing their own individual thing, right, they're going to run around and it's going to be chaos. And that's just a football game. When it comes to your retirement, the rest of your life that you've been thinking about for a very long time, you want to make sure that your plays are organized and synced together, working all together on behalf of accomplishing whatever your retirement vision is.
And I think what's important to note is that these retirement plans, they're customized to you, the life you've led. You haven't lived the same life as the person sitting next to you or the sibling that you're related to. Everyone lives a different life. And our team here puts together these customized plans where not one plan looks like any other plan.
Let's go back to John and Sue, because that's exactly what we do in our online journey to retirement. You see exactly the decisions John and Sue have to make. You see the plays that they draw up. And Loren, investments is something that are on people's mind. What do we do for John and Sue with that play?
Yeah, with the volatility that we've seen in the markets, investments and investment plans and investment performance is top of mind for most people, especially if you are in retirement or within a few years of retiring, because you are either taking money out of your investments or you will be or planning on taking money out soon. But if your portfolio drops significantly, and a lot of times in our conversations, people will go back to 2008, because in 2008 is when people lost 40, 50, even 60% of their portfolio. However, the difference between 2008 and what we're seeing now is you and the phase of your life that you're in. In 2008, you had a lot more time to recoup those losses than what you do now. And a lot of times in our workshop, we'll talk about how losing money impacts you much more than gaining money. And we'll give an example. We'll say, what if you have $1 million portfolio and we went through another 2008? You lost 50% of that portfolio. What kind of rate of return do you need to get back just to even?
A lot.
And a lot.
Several years, right? Sometimes.
Well, what kind of rate of return? So you have $1 million.
Okay.
You lost 50%.
Yeah.
What kind of rate of return do you need to get back to $1 million? And a lot of people will think, well, I lost 50%, I need 50% to get back to even.
Sure.
But in reality, $1 million lost 50%, now you have $500,000. If you only earn 50%, now you only have $750,000.
I'm following the math now.
And you're still a quarter of $250,000 away from your $1 million. And this is why in 2008, it took many people 5, 6, 7, 8 years just to get back to even. So going back to John and Sue, in the Journey to Retirement workshop, we talk about how they avoid that defense. What kind of play did they put into their retirement playbook to make sure that the next 2008 that we go through, they're not going to lose 50%. And so we talk about the specific construction of that portfolio, and we call it recession resistant. Because when we go through a market condition like what we've seen recently, you're going to be down. The key is you can't be down like the market, and you can't be down so much like in 08 where it's going to change your lifestyle, where it's going to make you want to come out of retirement or maybe not retire like you had planned. And that's one of a lot of people's favorite parts of the Journey to Retirement workshop is how does John and Sue construct that portfolio to allow them to get around that volatility defense.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see how these defenses that we've talked about, these play calls that we've made, to see these on paper, and as we go through them through this workshop, it's really fun to see how these defenses pop up and how we just navigate right around them.
Yeah, and the defense that you put into play for something like that, right, to resist the recession from an investment standpoint can have a direct impact on the play that you put in for Medicare or healthcare. And they all have to be synchronized to work together. And in the Journey to Retirement workshop, you talk about what some of those plays are.
That's right, and especially long-term care. This is a big one. A big question we get also is, do I need to buy a long-term care policy? Or do I need to self-fund? How much money do I need to do this? Well, what's fun to see as we go through the process with our families is that is one of those that is a guided decision. The plan can show you whether or not you can and should self-fund, or what other options, hybrids, anything else out there available that can fit that piece.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff we talk about here today, I mean, just going back to the play I drew up, I mean, it looked like a mess. And sometimes...
I know how to run it. I was following you, Coach. Don't worry, yeah.
A lot of times, life does feel messy, especially when you're on the cusp of making some very important decisions that you never had to make before. So your playbook should be simple. You should be able to turn to the income part of your playbook and say, here's how much money you need to live on to have the lifestyle that you want. Here's exactly where you're going to get that from. Not only where you're going to get it from now, but later down the road, so you have confidence in that decision and you know those decisions are sustainable to help you accomplish whatever your retirement play should be.
And you're talking about turning to the income. You physically, literally give people a playbook. You give them a binder, and for some people, they go back to that and they like that. Other people, put it in the hands of the retirement planners, but for some people, they can go back and say, what are we doing with income in 5 years, or where are we taking from first? You guys write it out for them. I mean, it's literally a playbook similar to what you get if you're an athlete.
Yeah, and that online Journey to Retirement workshop, we take you through John and Sue's playbook. And we take you through each one of the components of their plays and show you how they construct them and what it does to them to help give them confidence to achieve their goals.
Online Journey to Retirement workshop, that's where you can learn about John and Sue and how they get to their retirement vision. There's information on your screen right now. There's a website, you can go there, or you can grab your phone right now, pop open that camera app and hover it over the QR code. There's the website I'm talking about. You go there and then you can choose a time and a date that works for you. Sign up for a Journey to Retirement online workshop, and then we're going to send you a kit. That kit includes a fun travel mug, a books, a journal, some other good stuff that kind of makes you think about a journey. And then inside there is a workbook. This workbook is great. You can take notes as you watch the online Journey to Retirement workshop. You can take a look at it and see what John and Sue do. It's all written out there for you, and it's just a really good opportunity to start thinking about getting to that touchdown.
And sometimes that's the hardest part, is just getting started. So this is a real easy way to get your playbook started, and you can have a lot of fun at the same time.
Okay, this has been Retiring Today, our Red Zone / football edition. We've had a lot of fun, and we really want to say to you, thanks for watching.
Biking, boating, relaxation? What's your retirement vision? Learn how to take the money you've worked so hard to save and turn it into the retirement of your dreams during our Journey to Retirement workshop. Like getting ready for a trip, getting to and through retirement takes a roadmap. This workshop is the first step to planning your 20 or 30-year vacation. Go to retirewithmerkle.com to register for our Journey to Retirement workshop this week.